One of the reasons that coroner's reports are now considered credible in a court of law is because of the case with a man named Francesco Travia, who was accused of murdering a woman named Anna Fredrickson.
One day, Anna came to Francesco's apartment to have a drink with him. After a while of drinking, Anna and Francesco began arguing. Francesco stated that he remembered getting tired. The next thing he remembers is waking up to Anna lying dead on his floor. Did he do this, he thought? Did he kill her in a blackout and not remember?
The next morning, a police officer saw a strange man carrying a bag to the water. When he yelled out to him, the man quickly pushed the bag into the water. The police approached the man, who turned out to be Francesco. When asked what was in the bag, he refused to speak.
The police found out where Francesco lived and entered his apartment, only to find a dismembered woman lying on the floor with a bloody knife on the table. The coroner was called and reported to the scene. He took one look at the dead body and told the police officers, "Boys, you can't hold this man for murder."
So how did the coroner know this wasn't a murder from just one look at the body? Coroners have discovered that when people's blood is flooded with carbon monoxide, their faces turn a flush pink rather than a pale white when they've been suffocated.
So how does carbon monoxide get into somebody's blood to begin with? Carbon monoxide forms when incomplete combustion occurs, where each carbon bonds to only one oxygen instead of two. Normally, oxygen is carried through the blood by hemoglobin. Carbon monoxide is able to suffocate someone because it has about a 200 times stronger bond with hemoglobin than oxygen does. Because of this, the blood becomes saturated with carboxyhemoglobin rather than oxyhemoglobin. As the carbon monoxide absorbs into the cell, the blood changes from a dark blue-red color to a bright cherry red. This is the reason why the skin turns to a bright pink.
The police took Francesco to the police station overnight while Norris went to work in his lab testing blood samples from Anna's body to prove his theory.
One of the easiest ways to tell was mixing blood from the patient's body with lye. Normal oxygenated blood would turn into a dark gelatinous ooze, dark green in color. However, blood saturated with carbon monoxide would stay the crimson color after being mixed.
Norris could also observe the body. If Anna had died from carbon monoxide poisoning, her muscle tissues and organs would be a crimson color. The membranes in her throat and lungs would be a bright red and covered with a frothy mucus layer. Her brains would appear battered, swollen, and drip with bloody fluid. Her cortex would be softened and blood-streaked.
As Norris took blood and examined Anna's body, he found all the signs for carbon monoxide poisoning. In court, the lawyer let Norris and Francesco's landlord speak. He mentioned how a boiled-over coffee pot put out the flame on Francesco's stove while the gas continued to leak out. Thanks to Norris's work, Francesco was convicted of illegal dismemberment of a human body, but not for murder. Norris helped to save Francesco's life.
This case helped in great ways, allowing coroners' reports to hold up in court. It also led to great advances. Since the case, even more advances have been made. Most of the proof used in the case was observational. Toxicologists now use what's called a carboxymeter, which analyzes the blood to give the percent carbon monoxide found. There is also UV analysis. Both of these are much more accurate than approaches in the past.
Another case that happened before Francesco's helped toxicologist Gettler discover that carbon monoxide could not enter the blood after death. The idea came from a man who murdered his wife and tried to blame it on carbon monoxide poisoning. Gettler ran tests on dead cats and eventually dead people to prove that it was not possible for carbon monoxide to enter a body after death.
What are some other ways people could potentially die from carbon monoxide poisoning? One way that has been common in suicidal and murder cases is poisoning by car fumes in a closed space. When incomplete combustion occurs from gas fumes, carbon monoxide swirls around the closed room with nowhere to go. Eventually, as the room fills with carbon monoxide, so will the lungs of anyone in the room. There are many, many more ways for the poisoning to happen.